You're watching DD News. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. And more transatlantic troubles in the world of finance. The European Central Bank has imposed multi-million euro fines against US bank JPMorgan. Lars Holter is with Deutsche Welle and joins us from Berlin. Hi Lars, what's the story here?
Thanks for having me. Indeed, we're talking about a fine of 12.2 million euros against JPMorgan. And the reason is, according to ECP in Frankfurt, the bank's misrepresentation of its capital requirements. Now we're getting into regulatory issues, and that's a bit complicated to unpack. But here's what's going on. Between 2019 and 2024, JPMorgan reported lower risk-weighted assets than it should have submitted to banking supervisors. Now, these risk-weighted assets are a measure of the risks a bank holds on its books. They serve as a basis for banks to calculate their capital requirements. Because of the understated risk-weighted assets, the bank reported higher capital ratios than they should have. And why is this not just a technicality? Because these ratios are key indicators of a bank's capital strength and its resilience to absorb losses.
Okay, so what's the exact damage that JPMorgan did with its wrongful filings? In fact, filings, Lars.
There are no real financial damages, but that is not the point. What's more important is the fact that JPMorgan apparently undermined a system the ECB has in place to prevent banks from taking on too much risk. Something that, especially since the global banking crisis a few years ago, everyone probably understands to be extremely important. The ECB actually oversees the largest banks in the Eurozone, and they said that JPMorgan committed the violations, quote, with gross negligence due to obvious deficiencies in its internal processes. As for how seriously the ECB is taking such issues in general, they also just fined French bank Crédit Agricole 7.5 million euros simply for being too slow to evaluate its climate change-related risk in response to a request from the central bank.
So what is JPMorgan's reaction to these actions by the ECB?
So far, we haven't heard much from them, not even whether or not they're going to fight this at all. After all, the US bank could technically appeal the decision before the Court of Justice of the European Union. Meanwhile, a spokesperson for JPMorgan stated that the bank had indeed proactively identified and actually self-reported the problems and that they have now been fully resolved. The bank also states that it has consistently maintained strong capital buffers and, quote, our solid, prudent approach to capital adequacy remains unchanged.
All right, we leave it there, Lars. Thanks for your analysis.